Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Saturday to all of you. I hope you had a good day yesterday. I am back. Took yesterday off to try to do some winter or pre-winter stuff and got a lot done, and still have to do a bit more before winter gets here, and it seems like it's going to get here sooner than later. So ladies and gentlemen, on this video today, I just want to say yes, I believe that a lot of the stuff that is going on now was planned. You can call it whatever you want to call it. All right, you can call me a theorist, whatever. So I've been getting quite a few emails, and please stop sending me emails about this, ladies and gentlemen. I've already gotten it, so hopefully you'll see this video and not send me emails. When you do, go and watch whatever video that was put up. So I've been getting quite a few emails of some YouTuber. I think it's an older lady that was, I guess, somewhat berating me over the video that I did about the exercise, the food scarcity exercise that was done in 2015, and how a lot of the things that were mentioned in that exercise or simulation have come to pass. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I believe that this was planned. That is what I believe. Am I telling you what to believe? No. Just go take a look at the evidence yourself. Just go take a look at some of the things that's going on, and we'll get into that here in a minute. Now, in the beginning of the video, you probably noticed that this video is sponsored, and it is sponsored by OUPES, who is now one of my very favorite solar generators, if not my favorite mid-range solar generator in the industry. Thank you, OUPES, for sponsoring this video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the market for a quality solar generator, OUPES makes a good quality solar generator at a very competitive price. My favorite is the OUPES 2400, or what I like to call the Beast. I have a 25 cubic foot refrigerator, and it can run for more than 16 hours on one charge. So whether you need one for a refrigerator, freezer, medical, or personal devices, I'm sure that OUPES has a size that will fit your needs. Check below the description of this video and on a pinned comment for the link to their website and a code that can save you from $50 off of the 2400 watt model and 15% off any other product on the OUPES website. Again, thank you, OUPES, for sponsoring this video. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about if you see some other YouTuber saying something about one of my videos. First of all, it is 100% their right, okay? I have no problem with it whatsoever. I would never, take like another YouTuber's video and dissect it and then just like call them out. I would rather just email them and talk to them about it and then see where we fall. Like, for example, I've done that before. Well, I just email someone and say, hey, can we talk about this video, and talk about it and see where we fall. And then if I am compelled to do a video, I'll do it, but I just won't talk about someone else unless it's something good. All right, I'm not just going to get online and talk bad about somebody unless it's something good, and unless I'd already talked to them. So anyways, that's just me. Am I saying that it's the right way or the wrong way? Nope, I'm not saying that at all, but that's just me. However, what I want to caution you with is this. If you watch some other YouTubers and they say something that you don't like on one video, let's say that you've been subscribed to this YouTuber for a year, right? And then all of a sudden on one video they say something you don't like. Don't unsubscribe just because they say one thing you don't like. We learn from each other, from our disagreements, from our differences. That's how we learn from each other, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason I bring this up is because one of the emails that I got told me I already unsubscribed from this YouTuber because they pretty much threw you under the bus. Don't do that. If you were getting value from their channel before you got one bad video out of it, or what to you was one bad video, because I'm sure that to many it was a good video. They were like, yeah, that AP, he's a fearmonger, he's crazy, he's this, he's that. That's fine. But ladies and gentlemen, don't unsubscribe to YouTube channels, especially if they're talking about preparedness, just because you don't agree with one or two things. I guarantee you that I'm subscribed to like over 200 prepper channels, right? I don't watch them all every single day, because I just can't. But I try to hit him at least once or twice every month, just watch a short video here or there, or maybe a video pops up that I'm like, oh wow, I need to watch this video, and I watch the entire video. But I try to do that so that the algorithm will not unsubscribe me from them. And I've noticed that, now I'm not sure if this is how it works, but I've noticed with me that if I'm subscribed to a channel and I don't visit them for like a long time, for like months, that I'll get unsubscribed from them without me actually doing it. So don't unsubscribe to a channel just because you don't agree with one or two things that they say. Of course, it's up to you whether you do it or not, but you may be missing out on some value added to your life on a video that they make after you unsubscribe. All right? But again, that's up to you. So why do I think that this all was planned? Ladies and gentlemen, just take a look around, for goodness sakes. So I already went over that video where they went over the food simulation and all that stuff, and a lot of the things that they talked back in 2015, you can go take a look at that video. They've come to pass. Is anyone else going to convince me of this, of what I think? Probably not. All right, probably not. But like I said, just get prepared. If you don't believe that, just get prepared. Stay prepared. Fill in the gaps. I mean, another one of the things that I looked that makes me think that this was all planned, ladies and gentlemen, is this. In the Netherlands is one of the biggest exporting country of food exporters in the world, right? In the Netherlands. And now, while there are CEOs of the World Food Program, the United Nations, all of these organizations, right? All of these non-governmental organizations, they're out there saying there's going to be famine in the world in 2023, 2024. Almost 1 billion people are going to starve. We're having to take food from people that are hungry and give it to people that are starving. And all of these food shortage warnings going on all over the world, all of these countries that are stopping their exports of food in order to keep food in their country. And then we have one of the biggest exporters of food per capita, right, in the Netherlands, the Dutch, their government saying, yeah, we have to cut our farming down. Even though you guys have dialed it in, you farmers here in the Netherlands are awesome. You're like probably some of the best farmers in the world. You've got it down pat. You can make food like anyone else. But we need you to go ahead and cut down your production as the world is going into a food shortage crisis, as stated by all of these heads of non-governmental organizations. And this was not planned. Are you serious? Look at this drought that's going on the West Coast. Now, yes, it is a natural phenom. It is something that is occurring, that is a cycle that occurs naturally. In this case, it's a 1,200-year cycle, as stated by NASA, as stated by all of these weather places, okay? But California, for years, has been diverting fresh water out to the ocean. Why? So that they can save some fish. Putting the lives of the fish over the lives and livelihood of the people. Has this all been planned? Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Absolutely. Look at our financial system. Do you think that what's going on now with our economy and our financial system was not planned? A system that when you dissect it down to the core was made so that your wealth, so that your labor can be stolen from you. And that is not something that can be debated. It is the truth. It's not something that can be debated. It is a system that was made in order so that your labor, so that your wealth can be stolen from you over time, with most people not knowing about it. It's called inflation. A lot of people have heard that word today, inflation, but most people don't even know what it is and what the real cause of it is. Do you think that wasn't planned? Do you think that the framers of the Federal Reserve, do you think they did not know what the end result was going to be? So you don't think that was planned? You don't think that all of the violence that's going on, with all of the division that's going on in the United States, was planned? When you have a mainstream media that has been caught time and time again dividing the people with all of these issues that are really non-issues, However, so much noise is made via the mainstream media and their pundits out on the street that it becomes an issue because it is what people see the most. On TV, on the news, and I don't even watch the news, I just watch a clip here or there on a YouTube channel or whenever I'm going to get a haircut or something. But on the news, they cover nothing but the things that they want you to hear. They only cover the things that they want you to hear and don't cover the things that they don't want you to hear. So do you think that this division within the people was planned or not? I believe that it was planned. Why? Because in order of a government to maintain control of its people, it is much easier to do when it keeps the people divided. Why do you think we have two parties, two political parties? I know that there's like 2 or 3 more, but you know what I mean. Usually when you go to vote, when you go to the polls, you're going to vote for one or another that's actually going to count, because the third or the fourth that's in the polling is not going to get nearly enough votes to even compete with the top 2 political parties. So you don't think that this was all planned, right? So right here in the United States right now, we have enough fuel, we have enough energy to sustain ourselves 100%, but we don't have the infrastructure. Why is that? Well, it's because our government has taken that ability away from us. They have stopped us from building new refineries. They have stopped us from drilling. They have stopped us from building new infrastructures, i.e. pipelines that will actually make it easier for us to draw our own fuel from the ground and supply it to ourselves. And you don't think that this energy shortage here was planned through the sanctions that have been imposed on Russia? And now they're themselves saying, I'm not sending any of you guys that are against us any energy. And if you want it, you're going to pay in Russian rubles. Do you think that the framers of these laws, regulations, sanctions, whatever it is that you want to call it, do you think that they do not look at the first, second, third, and fourth order effects of something before they pass it? Trust me, they know exactly what's going to happen before it happens. Just like they knew back in 2015 during this simulation. This was all planned. You can't say that every single thing was. All right? You can't say that every single thing was, because, you know, there's consequences to things that happen, you know, that you weren't planning on happening when you do this. But the end result of us not having enough energy, all right, and energy prices going up substantially, where your average American, 1 out of 5 American families can't afford to pay their bills. Tell me this wasn't planned. When we have everything that we need here in the United States to take care of ourselves, and we have hundreds of thousands of homeless, tens of thousands of homeless veterans, where we have families living paycheck to paycheck, no more than $400 in the bank, being governed by a financial system that was made to keep them poor. This wasn't planned. Are you serious? And like I said, I'm not berating anyone, any YouTuber at all. I mentioned the other YouTuber, and I won't even mention her channel or her name, because to me that doesn't matter. What matters to me most is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have to come up to your own conclusion. These people that think that everything's going to be all right in the next 2 or 3 years, God bless you. I hope that you're right. I hope that in 3 years I am sitting here telling you I was 100% wrong. I was 100% wrong. But the question is, do you think it was planned? And if you think it was planned, what does it really matter? Just keep preparing. Do I think it was planned? That a lot of the things that's going on now is planned? I absolutely do. But in the end, what does it really matter? Are you preparing? Don't get caught up on the little things, because the little things will lead you down the wrong way. Keep your eyes on the big picture, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on the big picture. There are so many things going on nowadays that we do need to look forward to. And we do have, in my opinion, a government that is not for the people, 100%. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But remember that in my opinion, the most patriotic act that a citizen can do is to be critical of their government. Because what has this government done for you? Oh, it gave you some stimmies? Oh, your government gave you stimmies. How can your government give you something when government produces nothing? You know what your government gave you when it gave you stimmies? It gave you someone else's labor. That's what it did. It gave you the labor of your children and their children. That's what it did. It gave you the inflationary price hikes that you see today in everything that you need to live. That's what it gave you when it gave you those stimmies. Just like I was shouting back then that stimulus checks weren't going to help anyone, and they didn't. They're going to end up costing this country years and years of labor, of future labor. That's what government gives you, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I criticize government. Because government is not here for the people. All right? Our government is no longer a republic. So yes, I am very critical of government. And yes, I do believe that a lot of what's going on today was planned. But then again, are you preparing? I was going to end the video at that, but I thought I'd tell you a little story. So here's story time. I read a book a very long time ago. It's what initiated my awakening. And the name of this book is Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. Now, John Perkins used to work for the government, all right? And what he used to do is he used to be an economic hitman. And what he would do is he would go to an emerging country. So pretty much a poor country. A poor country that needed help with its infrastructure, that needed help with its governance, etc., etc. And he would go to their head of state and he would say, hey, listen, I see that you have, and I'm just using an example here, right? He would say, listen, I see that you have a problem with your electrical infrastructure, and we want to help you with that, meaning we, the United States government. We want to help you with that. And we want to go ahead and extend to you a loan so that you can go ahead and build up your electrical infrastructure, therefore investing in your country and making your country better, having your country produce a higher GDP, increasing the standard of living for your citizens. However, the money that we lend you at whatever interest rate, and the interest rate doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you why here in a minute. But he would say, however, the money that we lend you, you have to hire out or contract U.S. companies to do the work, right? And once they do the work, all you do is you get your infrastructure running, you put a price on your electricity, whatever you want it to be, and then you pay us back the loan. And when the loan is paid off, that's it. Our business is done. It sounds great, doesn't it? However, those countries that are targeted or were targeted back then, at least during his reign as an economic hitman, were countries that they already knew would not be able to pay back the loan. Why is that? Because this is a way of taking over a country without firing a shot. They knew that they were not going to be able to pay back the loan. They would lend them money that they knew would come back to the United States in the form of investment, right? Because they were investing in their infrastructure with our loan by hiring companies that were here in the United States. So the United States would win in that way. And then they knew that they were not going to be able to pay back the loan, right? Because the loan that they gave them, they already knew. You know, like when you go out and take a mortgage and they tell you, well, yeah, you're not going to be able to pay out this loan because of your economic status. You won't be able to pay it back. Whatever it is that you make, to how much it's going to cost you, etc., whatever formula they go through. So then once the country cannot pay back the loan, guess what happened to the grid? It became privatized, owned by those companies that lent them the money, by the banks that lent them the money. Because it wasn't just the U.S. that lent them money. The U.S. can't make money, but banks can. Many people don't understand that it is banks mainly that make money out of thin air. When you go borrow money for a mortgage, that money that you borrowed for that house that took energy to build never existed until you and the bank manager or the loan manager signed that document, obligating that money to be printed into existence out of thin air. So here we have money that was printed out of thin air, given to a country to build up their infrastructure. They can't make their loans. And guess what happens now? They can't make their loan payments. Now these banks, they own their electrical grid. And then they hike up the rates. They hike up the rates to where the people can't afford it. And the people's standard of living is now worse than what it was before they took out that loan. Now, why do I bring this up? Because that is something that's been done for a very long time. And not only by our government, but by governments. So do you think that was planned by the government? Or do you think that was just a one-off? Do you think that they went in there with a plan to take that country over or take over their infrastructures so that they can profit off of that country's people or not? Do you think they had a plan? Yes. Well, look at what's going on now, ladies and gentlemen, with all these regulations, all of these mandates, all of the job losses that are occurring and will continue to occur for years to come. Trust me, this economic downturn that we're turning into, this is just the beginning. This is just the first or second inning. We still have a long ways to go. And those guys sitting at the top, at the ivory towers, they know exactly what's going to happen. Why in the world do you think that CEOs of big corporations, why do you think that the Fed bank presidents got out of the market when they did? And all of these CEOs are getting out of the market like they are now at record pace. Why do you think that's happening? Because the ones that will be left holding the bag will be you. Will be the average working person that works for a living, that collects a wage in exchange for their labor. You will be holding the bag. And this has been planned, just like it's been planned every other time. Do you think that the government just woke up one day and said, wait a minute, the laws of nature don't exist? We can print money out of thin air. And remember, you have to realize, what does money represent? It represents your energy. That is what money represents. When you hold a bill in your hand, it represents the energy that you traded for that $100 at whatever your hourly rate may be. Do you really think that none of this was planned? Wake up, America. Wake up, world. Yes, this was all planned and it is working just like they wanted it to work. If you want to stay asleep, like we live in some kind of a wonderland, if you think that a magical unicorn is going to fly over your house and drop you the things that you need, guess what? That was not planned, and it's not part of the plan. That magical unicorn is not coming. And when you're starving because you fail to act, just because you find one word here or one word there that you don't agree with, then good luck to you. I hope that that magical unicorn comes for you.
And then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir. He says, it's worse than that. He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. I said, 7 countries in 5 years. I said, is that a classified memo? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me. He was about to show it to me. He said, because I want to talk about it. And I couldn't believe it would really be true, but that's actually what happened. These people took control of the policy in the United States.
These people took control of the policy in the United States.
And I realized then, it came back to me, a 1991 meeting I had with Paul Wolfowitz. You know, in 2001 he was Deputy Secretary of Defense, but in 1991 he was the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. It's the number 3 position in the Pentagon. And I had gone to see him when I was a 1-star general. I was commanding the National Training Center. I had met him one time. He said, if you ever get to Washington, come look me up. They always say that. Well, I was there in Washington. It was a Friday afternoon. I'd visited Colin Powell. He'd given me 5 minutes of his precious time and sent me on my way, and I was bored in the Pentagon, and I thought, I'll just go, who can I see? I think I'll see Wolfowitz. So I called, and up there he was available. Scooter Libby came to the door. I met Scooter for the first time, and he brought me in, and I said to Paul, I said, and this is 1991, I said, Mr. Secretary, you must be pretty happy with the performance of the troops in Desert Storm. And he said, well, yeah, he said, but not really. He said, because the truth is we should have gotten rid of Saddam Hussein, and we didn't. And this was just after the Shia uprising in March of 91, which we had provoked, and then we kept our troops on the sidelines and didn't intervene. And he said, but one thing we did learn, he said, we learned that we can use our military in the region, in the Middle East, and the Soviets won't stop us. He said, and we've got about 5 or 10 years to clean up those old Soviet client regimes, Syria, Iran, Iraq, before the next great superpower comes on to challenge us.